Don't blow the management meeting. There will be a time when you're selling your business or securing capital that you have to meet with the decision makers, whether it's the management of the company buying you or giving you capital, or the private equity firm or the family office that's giving you capital or buying your business. And there will be 5 things that you need to nail in that meeting, and one thing that everybody will tell you need to nail in the meeting that doesn't really matter, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm Arthur Petropoulos, managing partner here at Hillview Partners. We're a lower middle market investment banking firm, selling companies and finding capital for companies generating $1 million to about $20 million in pre-tax earnings or EBITDA. So you have gotten to the point in the process where a company is interested in you. We have, or your investment bank has provided information back and forth. They've seen the numbers, they've seen the narrative, they like what they see, but they want to meet the people. They want to see who's built the company, what they're about, how well do they know the business, and can they get a feel for the trajectory of the company based on the people that have built it and that operate it. So you're going to sit in a room with them or in a Zoom meeting, and you'll have your banker with you. And this is slightly more fun than a deposition, but think of an hour meeting where people really want to get to know the business. And there are 5 things, as mentioned, that they're going to want to really get to know. And one thing that everybody's going to tell you is the most important thing that doesn't really matter. Therefore, without further ado, item number 1 is to know your numbers. Now, that does not mean you have to be a CPA. You do not have to provide a prophylactic audit or quality of earnings to your business, but you have to have a general sense. What have revenues been for the last 5 years? Directionally, where have they been? Where are they? Where are they headed? What is your gross profit in terms of, okay, if you sell a pencil and you have to buy all the wood for it, what's kind of your unit economics? How much profit typically comes out of a project? And then lastly, what is the EBITDA or the profit on a business level in each of those years? If you knew each of those 3 metrics for the last 5 years, you'd be in really good shape for a management meeting. Again, they don't need to believe that you know every bank reconciliation and tax return, but they need to get a good feeling that, okay, this person, these people have had a good pulse of the numbers for the business historically. The second, know your processes. When we say processes, as we've said in other businesses, 3 things: sales, execution, operations. Sales, know how you get customers. Understand the different channels you use, understand the funnel, understand how someone goes from a prospect to a customer. Secondly, execution. Understand how you do this stuff. Whether you're installing lawns or installing software, whether you're making donuts or you're making an AI bot that tells you where to find the best donuts, doesn't matter. Just know how the thing is done. If someone becomes a customer and ends up as a very happy customer, what are the steps in between? How does that typically take place? Again, you don't need to know the intricacies of everything, whether the donuts have gluten-free, cage-free sprinkles or whatever. Just know generally how it happens. And third, operations. How do you tend to hire people? How do you tend to fire people? How do we know who gets paid, what they get paid? How does the whole business machine operate? And that can just be an assemblage of vendors. Oh, Insperity takes care of payroll. HR is also Insperity. Whatever. Or we have a person that does it and they know all the ins and outs, but generally speaking, these are kind of the parameters. Just be able to speak to it. So that's number 2. Number 3, know your people. What is the general structure of the company? How many people kind of do the stuff? How many people sell the stuff? How many people are in operations? What's the executive suite look like? Are there any really points of failure or key man, key woman risk within the company that would fall apart if something bad happens? And you don't have to have a perfect picture of this, but if you have an organizational chart, which is something they've likely already looked at least understand it. If someone says, how does sales happen? You say, oh yeah, that person, I don't really know what their name was. Haven't talked to them in a year. That's not going to help. So just know generally who people are, what they do, and if there are any weak points within the business. Number 4, know your product, and not just your product. We say product means product, service, offering, the thing that you do for your customers. And know one thing about it in particular. What is its edge? What is its differentiator? What is its competitive, durable advantage? What makes it better than everybody else? If you say, hey, we consult pharmaceutical companies to rectify FDA issues. Okay, why do you do it better than mega company here that does it, or giant specialist company here that does it? you have to know the differentiation. And again, if you are making between $1 and $20 million of EBITDA, there is a differentiator. There's a reason why people use it. You just have to suss it out and be able to say it succinctly. And if you're really struggling to think of what is the differentiator, the edge of the business, you can refer back to the last video we chatted on. It really comes down to three different things. Again, we provide a service to an audience to do X. And when you say X, think of the three variables: risk, growth, pain. We do X for Y customers to resolve this pain, to create this growth, to minimize or mitigate this risk. If you can say that simple sentence, it doesn't have to be a big grand thing. Sometimes we talk to people and we say, what does your company do? And 45 minutes later, we kind of understand it. It can be two sentences. We solve this problem for this audience to get this result. And if you can say it sharp and why it's different, and we do it better than everybody else because we do it faster, smarter, with more detail, with better results, with better outcomes, whatever it is, just know that. And then the fifth item is going to be know the next 5 steps. And we say the next 5 steps of the business, the growth levers, the catalysts, the way to unlock future growth in the business. And these aren't things that you have to be willing to do during your ownership tenure. It doesn't have to be things that you even started in your ownership tenure. However, it's the blueprint for the next owner of the business. If you buy this company and you hired 3 more salespeople, went into this market, created this product, started dealing with these types of customers, created a secondary offering of this, of that, whatever it is, just think more, better, sometimes different, but more and better. How do you do more and better? What are the next 5 things in the company? Have that planned out, because those are the things that really excite people. Again, the whole idea of selling a business is you're selling what's been, you're selling what is now, and you're selling what will be. And the what will be is tremendously substantiated by knowing what the next 5 steps could be. And maybe they only want 3 of them, and maybe they already have their own 5 steps, but just knowing that you know that or had it visualized and crystallized for yourself will create confidence in the meeting. And therefore, to summarize, 5 things that you need to know to not blow the management meeting, and ideally to further, I think, incentivize, further entice someone to want to buy your business, to want to provide you capital, are as follows. 1, know your numbers. 2, know your processes. 3, know your people. 4, know your product and its edge. 5, know the next 5 steps of the business. Now, as we said in the beginning of the video, there is one thing that everybody will tell you you need to know for these meetings, and it's so important, and you really have to get it. You really have to pound the drum and make a big theatrical thing. And what we've found historically, this may not be a popular opinion, is it doesn't matter that much. And that is, know your why. And people always say, like, tell them your why. Tell them what you really want to do when you sell the company, and why it's so important for you to sell. And look, it's not that it's a negative thing to have a why. If you want to sell your business and pursue philanthropic things, and plenty of our clients want to travel the world and help underprivileged people, that's a good thing, right? Nothing against that. We try to be as philanthropic here at Hillview as we can too. Shout out to the Cranston Greek Church. But that being said, the buyer, I'm not going to say they don't care, but it doesn't have to be the world's greatest reason. Your why can simply be, I want to have a lot of money so that I can do cool things for the rest of my life. I want to have a lot of money so I can give it to my kids so they have to take just a little bit less guff during their life than I had to during mine. I want to give it to my grandkids. I want to buy a Ferrari for my wife. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be noble. It just has to be real. It just has to be sincere. And if you've been running a business for decades, you have already done good things for people. You've kept people employed. You've provided clients with solutions that solve their problems, that grow their stuff. And so if the ultimate goal of selling your business is to just make your life better, that's as noble and as good as any. And so have a why. There has to be a why if you're thinking about selling your company, if you need capital, but it doesn't have to be something that's going to win you a Nobel Peace Prize. And to be honest with you, martyrdom you profess is not going to instill any greater desire. No buyer ever said to us, like, you know what, we were only going to pay X, but because they're going to do such good things with the money, we want to give them even more of it. It doesn't happen. And so know the 5 things that matter, because they matter to the buyer. And if they matter to the buyer, like we said in the last video, then they will care about solving the things for you, giving you the things that you want. And if you have a wonderful why, then that's awesome. If you just want to buy an Aston Martin and drive across Europe, that's perfectly fine too. And that sounds like a pretty fun idea also. But the idea is, the why. Everybody's going to say it, and look it up on YouTube. There'll be 700 motivational speeches as everything in life revolves around your why. And maybe it does for you, but for the buyer of a company, it's just not going to matter that much. Is there a why? Great. That being said, the 5 things that will matter. You sit down with management, you have your banker with you, the things you want to be able to speak to, crisp, articulate, letting people know that you really understand the business, numbers, processes, people, product, 5 next steps of growth. That's the thought for today. Keep pushing forward. Hope the week's going well for everyone. God bless. I'll see everyone next time.